Hi, I'm Sam Dwyer with Humanities Montana and the Montana Center for the Book, and I'm here today with the author Precious McKenzie. Precious is a professor at Rocky Mountain College, and she's also an author of over 50 books for young people. She does lots of classroom visits, and you can bring her into your classroom through our Speakers in the Schools program. But she's here with us today because her most recent book, Cinder Yeti, was our selection for the National Book Festival. The National Book Festival is the signature program of the Library for Congress. And each year they ask all of the state centers for the book to select a book from their state to go to the festival in Washington, D.C., and be part of a big gathering of thousands of people in a big hotel conference room. And kids come in and they have passports and they get stamps for each state as they visit and find out about the literature that comes from all over the nation. This year, the festival's virtual, which actually means that a lot more Montanans are going to be able to participate. We're really excited to be part of the National Book Festival virtual program this year, September 25th through 27th, and to feature Precious McKenzie in our part of the Roadmap to the States. So with that, I would like to ask Precious a few questions about her book and her writing process. So we are really excited to have her with us here today and to talk a little bit more about Cinder Yeti. Thank you for joining us, Precious.
Thank you for having me. This is a huge honor.
So, Cinder Yeti is a retelling of the classic story of Cinderella with a young Yeti and her three mean stepsisters who try to keep her from going to the ball. And when I read it, I was really curious about how you chose to tell this story with a twist. Do you read a lot of fairy tales?
I do. I love fairy tales and I love folk tales. I love the old stories and what they try to teach children. And I'm fascinated by how our modern media has twisted some of these old tales to fit our modern day wants and needs. Um, and I guess I was kind of inspired because I was tired of the fairy tales ending with a happy ever after and the girl that's saved by the prince. So I wanted to try something a little different.
Do you have a favorite fairy tale?
Um, I love Snow White. I think Snow White is wonderful, and I love Little Red Riding Hood as well.
Maybe there's a Yeti series in the works.
I've had kids ask me that. So I said, I'll get to work on that right away.
In this book, the stepsisters keep telling Cinder Yeti that humans and Yetis never ever mix. And they also don't let Cinder Yeti come on their grand adventures with them. And she feels left out and lonely at the beginning, but at the end has found some new friends. And I wondered, when you were younger, what book maybe felt made you feel like you belonged?
Oh, there were so many wonderful stories. I mean, I was a reader. The happiest part of my childhood was when my mom would say, get on your bicycle and go ride to the public library. And I would spend my summer days at the public library just devouring books and checking lots of books out. There's so many. I loved Marguerite Henry's Misty of Shinto series. I loved her writing because I'm a horse person, and I just connected with that. And I love the world she created there. It was such a happy world and a welcoming world. And of course, like Beverly Cleary, all the Ramona series, Winnie the Pooh. Now I'm probably showing my age here, but just those that were filled with love and compassion and silly humor. It just made me feel welcome and like, the world is a good, kind place. And I think that's what's important for kids.
Well, have you ever met a Yeti? Have you ever seen a Yeti? Or someone who reminds you of Cinder Yeti?
Well, I always tease my little brother, who is now 6'2", probably. And he's got a big scruffy beard. I used to call him Sasquatch because he's just a big guy. So maybe that's why I was inspired by Cinder Yeti. Love my brother. um, but yeah, I've never seen a real Yeti, but I do. You know, I'm curious why not? Why couldn't they exist? Certainly, people have claimed to have seen them. So who knows? And I think some of the wilderness areas of Montana would be perfect habitat for Yetis. So you just never know.
I hope that there are a bunch of kids heading out into the woods near their homes to look for Yetis now.
And if they don't find a Yeti, I'm sure they're going to find something just as wonderful out there.
So tell me a little bit about your writing process. Do you write every day, and are you writing right now?
I wish I could write every day. I teach a lot, so that kind of takes the foreground. But I do try to write a lot in the summertime and on winter vacation, so as much as I can. Um, yeah, and I usually start with an idea or a character that just kind of strikes me, and I just kind of tootle around with it for a while and kick it around in my brain. Um, what would this character want? What would this character, um, what would her world look like? What would she wear? What would she sound like? So there's a lot of brainstorming and like pre-writing activities, and then lots and lots of drafts to get it just right. I mean, Cinder Yeti took about 6 years from the time I started with the initial idea to publication. So I'm not a very fast writer for picture books. I take time to get it just right.
You write a lot, though. You have over 50 books for kids.
Hmm.
Did you have multiple projects going at the same time?
I do, yes. So that's really fun because, I'll get a solid draft of one story done and I'll set it aside for a while and just kind of let it rest. It's kind of like cooking, just let it rest for a while, and then I'll work on another project and sometimes it may be something completely different. It might be a young adult novel or it might be a picture book, and I feel that's like really good a brain workout, if you will, to kind of work all the muscles in your brain to get you thinking. And I think that just kind of helps keep the creativity going, and it prevents me from getting writer's block because I'm not bogged down with one project or I'm not worried about one project too much. I give myself the freedom to set it aside and come back to it later with fresh eyes, and I think that's really
Do
important.
you have advice for young kids who want to be writers, or maybe a writing prompt? I know you do a lot of workshops for kids.
Yeah. Oh, advice for kids. Just read a lot because there's so many wonderful stories out there by all kinds of people. So read a lot, read widely, and keep writing. I mean, carry a notebook with you or carry your iPad with you and jot down these ideas because you never know. You could have a character, an idea for a character, or somebody could say something that could spark a
Is
story.
there anything else that you would like to tell our viewers today?
I hope they really enjoy reading Cinder Yeti. And I think, at its heart, it's a story about not being afraid to make friends with those who are very different from you. And I think that's really important now. Um, you know, give one another a chance, have kindness, and approach people with open minds.
Thank you. And where can people find the book and find out more about you?
They can buy it online. They can buy it directly through the publisher at blubooks.com. And then I also have a website, preciousmckenzie.com, and I'm available for school visits, virtual visits probably.
So much for joining us today, and we love your book, Cinder Yeti, and we're so glad that it can be part of the Library of Congress's National Book Festival this year.
Thank you so much.